Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. This is...
Hallie.
Yes, it is. I want to talk today about the collapse of law enforcement. A couple of things have come up just recently, just from people that I've talked to, that kind of give us a hint of what could happen, what's going to happen. I think there's been a lot of talk about, police and law enforcement. I think we even touched on that in one we did before. She's over because we're about to head out and do a bunch of Christmas lights, but this just hit my mind. And I asked her, I said, "You want to say anything about it?" She said, "Sure." Several weeks ago, you may have remembered that we shot one down in Mound City, Kansas, when we were down at a Sugar Mound Arts and Crafts Festival, something like that. Interesting thing was down there, I talked to a sheriff's deputy, a sergeant down there, who said that they're building. Matter of fact, when we drove into town, there was a big flashing sign. You know, one of these signs that they pull around the back of a trailer, and you can, program it to say whatever you want to. And it was right in downtown Mound City. And it was advertising for new deputies for the sheriff's department to work in a new jail they were building. So anyway, later when I got to talking to one of the sergeants, they said, I asked them about it. I says, "Man, you guys are really growing." They said, "Yeah, we're building a new 92-bed jail." Now, this is in Miami County, Kansas. Miami County doesn't usually have 92 people that need to be in jail at any one time. And I come from a big Class A county in Missouri where we had hundreds, over 1,000 people in our county jail. In my sheriff's department, we didn't handle a county jail. We handled just criminal, but that's a different kind of thing. Over here, they handle everything in Kansas. So I asked, I said, why the big flashing light? Why you having a hard time finding people to apply? They said, "Yeah, they can't find anybody to apply to be on the sheriff's department." They said, "Would you like to come down and join?" I said, "No, I've had my fun, thank you. Now I'm just going to sit back, and I'm about to leave my corporate job, and I'm just going to sit around and write books. Thank you very much." And the last thing I want to do is be out in Kansas County running all over the miles chasing some bad guys and some idiots. Neither one I want to spend much time with anymore. But they said, "Man, it's just getting tough. We can't get anybody to apply for these jobs. We've got openings all over the place." And of course, then I asked him, I said, "Why 92 beds? It sounds like you're going to be contracting, holding for other counties or the feds." And they said, "Yep, that's exactly what they're doing." Just a few days ago, I was talking to a guy that I know who was down in, I'm sorry, I back up. That was Lynn County. That's 2 counties south of here. Okay, you might have read about Lynn County in one of my books. So just a few days ago, I was talking to a friend of mine who's involved in the emergency preparedness training for counties and all of that, And he said that the sheriff of Miami County, I think it was the sheriff, might have been the undersheriff or a major or a captain, I don't know. It's not a big sheriff department. Asked him if he knew anybody that was looking for a job. And my friend said, "Well, what kind of job?" He says, "Well, we need anybody. We need deputies. We need people to work in the jail." My friend said, "No, I don't know anybody that's looking for anything like that." And the guy said, "Well, even somebody in high school. We're putting it out to high school. Some of these kids, they have high school." "Yeah, I know." And then some high school kids, if they're 18, if they're going through doesn't even have to be going through a law enforcement program, anybody to work in the jail. It's just, no, don't know anybody. So that's 2 counties down. A friend of mine used to be the sheriff in Bourbon County. That's 3 counties down. He said that they probably, a lot of times when he was on the sheriff's department, it was him and a deputy. and now it's not much more, he doesn't think. Now, I come from up here. She used to work with me. She was in security at a major hospital over here. We're going to get to that in a second. We know that a lot of these major cities are losing a large. Is the sun getting to you? Sun's over the yard arm. You can scooch however you need.
I'm glowing. It's fine.
You're glowing. I thought it was a halo.
There we go. That's better.
We know. Yeah,
okay.
right.
Right.
Okay. We know that the major cities are losing people right and left. We've heard about Chicago possibly losing a third. Who knows? The Seattle guys are starting to fly Gadsden flags off their patrol cars. They're just losing them right and left. The people who wanted life without the police are about to get their wish. The situation with this is that the ones who are staying aren't the ones you want to stay. Okay? The ones that are leaving are the ones who have just had it and have had it for a long time. Now, they lasted longer than I did. I'd had it back in the 80s. But these are the guys that have had it, aren't going to do it anymore. Most of them are not the ones that are out there violating people's rights, regardless if we have anybody come on here and say, cops are nothing but little Nazis just waiting to violate people's rights. Stop it. Okay? You show your ignorance, and you show your limited knowledge of the field. Okay, wherever you work, I can find some morons who work in it, and with whom I've probably had bad experiences myself. So there's no need for that. A lot of cops do abuse authority, and those are the ones that are going to be left when all these others are gone. The cities are going to collapse, and everybody knows that. Everybody's been thinking about that, talking about it. Get out of the cities and things like that. Yeah, I get that. We live in an extremely nice suburb here, in which the police department has a very, very interesting group of people, of officers. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
She used to see him come in all the time over in the ER. They'd be bringing people in, and she was on the security department, so she got to know a lot of them. How would you describe these young folks?
Young.
Yeah.
Younger than me, mentally.
Yeah.
They're, I would say that they have a filtered perspective in life, and so they follow society's status quo. Let's say that. And they're very... Let's just say if you were arresting somebody and they get arrested quite often, they're going to want to test you because they don't respect you. You don't have that power. So
they're soft.
There you go.
Many of them are small. Many of them have these wide open eyes like, wow, what am I doing here? And to which my answer would be, I don't know, what are you doing here? Okay. These are not the people that you want to be standing between you and chaos. Okay. I look back at the guys that were on before. There were some hard people on before, and they had to be because it's a hard world. And you gotta do it. My main reason for going on back then is because I figured that there had to be somebody out there tougher and meaner than the SOBs who were causing the trouble, and I figured, it was a job for me. It kind of.
A lot of the people that are coming out of the academy right now are the sweethearts. They're the ones that haven't seen anything, and when they see something, they're shocked in a way by it. Like, they've read about it, they've heard about it, so when they actually experience it, they're experiencing it from that perspective, not from the one that they've actually been in the situation and know how to control it. So, mistakes can happen that way.
She knows what she's talking about. Hallie's a street kid. She was an old street kid. I mean, she is a hard ass. And I won't, maybe someday, if you ever want to talk about your life, you certainly may. I won't bring it up here. But there's probably not many of you out there that know more about the hard stuff of life than she does, even at her tender young age. And so she understands. Well, what are you, 23?
You said tender.
Tender.
Which is funny.
Tender young age, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, she's not particularly tender. But, well, she is under that hard head. But she knows what she's talking about, and it's exactly right. These people learn. They learn out of a book. They view the world out of a book, and a lot of times that's why these suburban departments, have a hard time keeping people, because the first time they get somebody who wants to kick their butt, they go, oh, well, this isn't what I signed on for. Let me go sell insurance or something like that.
Another problem I see is sell insurance. If you go to a harder department too, the sweethearts that haven't seen anything, they acclimate to the setting, but then they just like the power over the people. It's not exactly their anger and bitterness and all the chaos in their head from seeing these things control them, and then they like the authoritative role that they get to have. And being an officer, they don't exactly take it to heart the way that they did when they first came in.
Right. And like I think I mentioned in a previous one, and instead of bringing a fully developed personality into the job, they go into a job kind of undeveloped themselves, and then allow that job to infuse in them a personality. And it's usually not a well-rounded or well-developed personality that you would want in a public servant of any kind. Anyway, what has this to do with the collapse of the police and law enforcement, and what you can do about it? From the city on out. That's why I used those examples before. The cities are losing their good ones. I think I was talking about this a couple of years ago, when we saw, the current occupant of the White House, when we saw the social programs changing in such a way, I knew that the good ones were leaving. And so you're left with the ones who are not at the top of the pile, right? So that's just going to make the cities collapse faster. And those cities are nothing but black holes that are going to suck in all the resources around them and not put anything back into the areas that they kind of center. It's just they're going to suck all the good out of those places, and they're going to collapse. They're going to go faster and faster and faster and faster. It's going to be more and more dangerous. Now, everybody agrees, and I know a lot of people say, that's right, the cities are dangerous. Well, let me tell you this, the suburbs are dangerous too, and still a lot of people are going to be saying, that's right, suburbs are dangerous. Well, let me tell you something else. The next county out in the ring is going to be dangerous, more dangerous. The next one out is going to be more dangerous. That one farther out with 2 deputies riding is going to be dangerous. The collapse of law enforcement, I see, is almost universal. Now, there will be those places to where you have strong sheriff's departments. And those sheriff's departments that are strong are led by a strong sheriff like Villanueva out in L.A. County. Now, L.A. County Sheriff Department is almost something of its own. You can't really include that with so many of the others. But you're going to have a lot of good, strong sheriffs out there and deputies who grew up in the areas that they serve. Those places are going to be fine. But so much around other areas that aren't like that, they're not going to be fine. If you think that being out in the country is going to be a safe place, well, it's as safe as you can personally make it. Let me put it that way. And then we're getting to something else here. Because
That's very true. Because out in the country, people think they can get away with more because there's less. They don't have those cars, the ones that you told me that will run your license plates. What are those called?
Oh yeah, license plate readers.
Yeah, they don't have the overlook like cities do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's always been like that. I mean, people that thought that the small towns and country places were safe just didn't have a job to where they saw everything that was going on out there. They're as safe as you make it. And, I don't know what the figures are, but I've worked both county and city. And probably per capita, I don't see much difference in the badness going on, So as I say, it's as safe as you can make it, because that the deputy who's on, or the 2 deputies who are on, they might be 40 miles away from you. It's not like calling 911 and they get there in a minute. In the city, they'll get there in a couple of minutes. Out in the county, whatever, it's going to take a while for them to get there, and it's up to you. And it's going to be more up to you. Now, what's the whole point of this? Because most of this is nothing new except for the information that I happen to pass on about people that I personally talked to lately. The thing is that we're going to have to see, as we talked about the collapse of the society in general, as we talked about what kind of war is coming, we have talked about the fact that the powers that be are doing this purposefully, we believe, to collapse the society and perhaps to bring in, the overlord enforcement, as it were. There's going to have to be an increase in people taking care of their own law enforcement needs. Okay, I'm not going to say militia. I'm not going to say vigilanteism. I'm not going to say, neighborhood watch on steroids. But if I were to say those, I would mean them. It's time for the people, just as they have become more and more aware of their need to be self-sufficient in all other ways, in food, in water, in energy, in all those things. Not just to be cognizant of self-protection, protection of their own home, their own property, and all that, but really to get together and form a little more formalized area protection units, in my opinion. Now I know that a lot of people, and I think back to the guys that I knew that would be out in the smaller towns and in the country and things, and if I say that, they say, well, we all get together when somebody needs help, and we're there. Yeah, okay, I get that, but are you there in 10 minutes? Okay, I mean, if somebody's house is on fire, I know that you can see that from miles around, and people are going to come help. But there needs to be something more than that. There needs to be a development of concerted efforts to keep areas safe.
Stomach?
Yes. She's read my books. Somebody else just the other day, I think it was yesterday, put in a whole quote, a whole paragraph from one of my books. It was great, thank you. And was dead on the mark. So anyway, the collapse of law enforcement is coming faster than I think we would have thought. We're going to be left with the worst of the bunch. The best of the bunch are going to be leaving. And it's going to be up to people to protect not just themselves and their houses, but their areas. And I suggest the development of organized protection units to replace the services that we are going to be missing in what we've seen in law enforcement over the past. You have anything to add?
Read his books.
Read his books.
That's about it.
All right. Well, we're going to go hang some Christmas lights.
Yay.
Make people happy and make ourselves happy too. So you all have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And think about this. Get together with the people you know. Whether you're in a city, a suburb, a small town out in the sticks, discuss this. Say things are going downhill and hurry. Let's get together and see if we can't construct a good, proactive, protective unit. So you all have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.